Good afternoon, all of you. Today we are going to continue the discussion of Drugs and Cosmetic Act 1940. Since last two classes we were discussing about the act and its objectives. What are the various roles of this act in regulating the pharmacy, practicing pharmaceuticals in India, and officials appointed as per this act, advisory role, executive role, and their analytical role of the officials, those who are appointed as per this act, and role of drug inspectors, role of analysts, drug government analysts, like that. We were discussed about various topics, and we spent the time to discuss about the various schedules under this act. So there are from Schedule A to Schedule Y. There are so many schedules. Accordingly, the pharmaceuticals and related substances were classified, and more attention were shown on them, their practices in various way. In continuation of that discussion, we are going to discuss about Schedule C, what it is, what exactly. Schedule C and C1 are very important in point of giving licenses for manufacture, purchase, sale, importing. So, what this Schedule C and C1, uh, I think we were discussed in this part also in the last class. We continue from here. Schedule C and C1 are biological preparations or parenteral preparations. Schedule C includes sera, vaccines, toxins, antigen, antitoxins, and related substances. Okay, and antibiotics, sterilized surgical ligatures and sutures, bacteriophage preparations, ophthalmic preparations, sterile disposable devices, or comes under this topic. Digital is containing drugs or comes under Schedule C1. Ergot alkaloids or comes under C1. Adrenaline and preparations containing adrenaline not in a form to be administered parenterally or comes under Schedule C. C1. Like that, fish liver oils, preparations containing fish liver oils, all comes under this C1. Vitamins and preparations containing any vitamins not in a form to be administered parenterally. So, non-parenteral vitamins all comes under Schedule C1. Liver extracts, preparation containing liver extracts, cod liver oil, shark liver oil preparations. Hormones and preparations, vaccines not in the form to be administered parenterally. So any other form, if you are administering vaccine, subcutaneous route, you are administering oral vaccines are available, oral polio vaccine, like that. So they all comes under Schedule C1. Antibiotics and preparations thereof not in the form to be administered parenterally. In vitro blood grouping sera, in vitro diagnostic devices for HIV, and hemoglobin preparations. These all comes under Schedule C1. Uh, Actually, they are all non-parental. C1 are non-parental. C are parental. C group C or Schedule C are parental. Schedule C1 are non-parental. Okay. For these two sections, they made separate rules for issuing licenses for manufacturing, sale, production, importing, everything. Separate classes were made by this act. And like that, what is Schedule D says? It is Chapter 3 of the Act and rules thereunder subject to the conditions that if the substance is imported in bulk, the importer shall specify that the substance is imported for non-medical use. They made a list of substances. They can import only for non-medical purpose. Otherwise, the import is prohibited. That substances are listed under Schedule D. The following substances which are used both as article of food as well as drugs, they are non-medicinal purpose. For food grade, food purpose, they can be imported. Otherwise, they should not. All condensed and powdered milk, with whether pure, skimmed, or malted, fortified with vitamins and minerals in any form, that should not be used as a medicine. Farx, oats, lactose, and all other similar cereal preparations. These words were used in Act Farx oats. Nowadays, it is updated. Many other cereal related preparations are available, brand names available in market. Fortified with vitamins or otherwise, excepting those for parenteral use, all comes under this category. And viral, boviral, boviral, chicken essence, and all other similar pre-digested foods, bovine origin or chicken origin, those non-vegetarian foods which are pre-digested food in any form, they are imported. That should not be used for medical purposes. Ginger, pepper, cumin, cinnamon containing preparations also listed like that. If these preparations are having standards as prescribed by Indian Pharmacopoeia, they will be allowed for importing. Otherwise, they don't. So that is Schedule D. Schedule F under subsection 2 that defines about F2 that defines about standards for surgical dressing. What is surgical dressing, and it gives many information related to synonyms of bandage cloths, bleached bandage cloths, rolled bandages, open woven bandages, cotton bandages, like that. Their descriptions were given, and for them, how it will look like, how it will be prepared, what it contains, how it will be tested and certified. That's surgical dressing standards will be, all are listed under this Schedule F2. And then Schedule G contains aminopterin, L-asparginase, uh, bleomycin, busulfan, its salts, carbotamide, chlorambucil, its salts, chlorothiazide and its derivatives, benzothiazidine, benzothiazidine, chlorpropamide, its salts, chlorthalidone. Why these medicines are listed here? Because these preparations excluded those intended for topical and external use cover under this schedule. Schedule G is what? We'll see here. List of substances required to be used under medical supervision and labeled accordingly. So we need medical supervision. It should be done in the hospital only. Practice of these medicines should be done only in hospital in presence of medical staff. Self usage is restricted. So these medicines are under this list here. Ethosuximide, glibenclamide, hydantoin, salts, its derivatives, and their salt form, hydroxyurea, insulin, these all under medical supervision only. Metformin, its salts, methosuximide, we are all using now metformin, but it is all under medical supervision. It should be reviewed by medical doctors periodically, their usage, because they result some life-threatening conditions. That is the reason they were listed. Like that, Schedule H. Schedule H, the difference between Schedule G and H is Schedule G should be practiced with the direct supervision of medical professionals. Schedule H, it should be prescribed by a medical professional, and then only based on the prescription only, it should be dispensed to them by the pharmacist. Prescription drugs, acebutolol hydrochloride, acyclovir, adrenocorticotropic hormones, allopurinol, alprazolam, amikazin, amineptin, aminosalicylic acid, amitriptyline, amoxapine. There are many popular in this list. Azathioprine, barbituric acid salts, like that, and the list goes. So carbidopa, captopril, buspirone, zidovudin. So all these comes under this category of Schedule H. Okay, Schedule J. What is Schedule J? There are 2 more questions also. Schedule J is the list of diseases and ailments which a drug may not purport or to prevent or cure or make claim to prevent or cure. So diseases under this schedule are AIDS, angina pectoris, diabetes, cancer, blindness, deafness, fairness of skin, improvement in height of children, adults, obesity. These are not diseases and ailments permanently cured. Nobody should claim that there is a cure for this. So no one should make any medicines and supply to the patients. So that all listed under Schedule J. Schedule P. Schedule P is life period of drugs. So we will find out the shelf life of the product, and then accordingly we label the expiry date of the product. And also we should adopt proper storage conditions for these preparations. That is essential. If the storage conditions are not maintained, then life period may differ, maybe lesser than that. Period in months, for example, unless otherwise specified between date of manufacture and date of expiry, which the label potency period of the drug should not exceed under the condition of storage specified. The schedule includes antibiotics, vitamins, insulin preparations, normal human plasma, serotoxins, toxoids, and antitoxins, miscellaneous drug substances comes under this category. So unless it is specified, not specified also, it is applicable to, this is the life period of the product, like that, and the act is specifying the period for the preparation. Even if it is not specified in the label, this is the lifetime of the product. For example, uh, adriamycin is a drug, contains 30 months as a life period. In months it is given. Conditions of storage in a cold place, cool place. It should be stored in cool place only. Then in the life period may be expected up to 30 months. Otherwise, it will be shorter than that. Ampicillin sodium, 36 months in cool place. Carbenicillin sodium powder, 24 months at temperature not exceeding 5 degrees centigrade. So like that, the life period also to be stated along with the storage conditions specific. It should be specified in that act. Schedule P1, it mentions about the pack size of certain drugs. P is about life period, P1 is about pack size. It gives the name of drug along with the dosage form and the pack size. No other pack size other than that one listed in is allowed to be marketed. Example of a few drugs under this schedule are albendazole tablets. If albendazole suspension, that should contain only 10 ml, that is the pack size. Atenolol tablets, that should be 14 tablets in the pack. Piperazine granules, that should be 5 gram, that should be 5 gram in the pack. Schedule W, list of drugs which shall be marketed under generic name only. So they should be marketed under generic name only. Like that also drugs are there. They are listed under Schedule W. Example, analgin, aspirin and its salts, chlorpromazine and its salts, ferrous sulfate, piperazine and its salts. They should be marketed only under generic name only. Schedule X are narcotics and psychotropic substances. We have seen while discussing itself, like how we are having a separate rules and regulations for licensing, sale, marketing, and importing. We have special rules to issue licenses for Schedule X drugs also. These are the drugs which cannot be purchased over the counter without the prescription of a qualified doctor. Also, the retailer has to preserve the prescription for a period of 2 years. So once after supplying, they have to preserve the copy compulsorily for 2 years with them. So that is called Schedule X as per the Act. List of Schedule X drugs are amobarbital, amphetamines, methyl phenidate, barbital, methyl phenobarbital. Some are there in use, some are not there in practice. Cyclobarbital, pentobarbital, dexamphetamine, uh, phencyclidine, ethchlorvinol, phenometrazine, glutathione, meprobamate, secobarbital, ketamine. So all barbituric acid derivatives are under this category. And important thing is tramadol, methamphetamine also, tramadol. These are nowadays we are in practice. Tramadol is used in many of the prescriptions. Preparations containing the above substances are also converted to this schedule. So not only these medicines alone, any preparations in combinations they are having also comes under schedule X only. Any stereoisomeric metric form of the substance specified in the schedule, any salt of the substance and preparation containing such substances are also converted by this schedule. So this is about the informations about various schedules. Now we are going to move to an important part of this act, import of drugs and cosmetics. For import of drugs and cosmetics, what this act says, what the provisions given. There are many, we can discuss this topic under various subsections. Classes of drugs prohibited to import. We should know which are the drugs are prohibited to import, and import of drugs, if it is permitted under license, how the licenses were given in various way. One is specified in Schedule C, C1 drugs, separate license is given. Schedule X, separate license is given, and then we can obtain license for importing of substances for only for test and analysis, and we can import for personal use. We can import any new drugs and drugs exempted from provisions of import, offenses and penalties if it is not followed properly. So like that, various sub classification under which we can discuss this topic elaborately. First thing is classes of drugs prohibited to import. Any drug which is not of standard quality are not allowed to import. That is misbranded, substandard, adulterated. We have definitions glossary in the glossary sections. Any misbranded, spurious, adulterated are not allowed to import. Any misbranded or spurious cosmetics also same rule. Any drug or cosmetic which require import license, and if imported without such license, they are not allowed to import. They need import license, but they are not followed that. It came to our port, so it will not be permitted to import in India. Any patent or proprietary medicine, the true formula or list of active ingredients with their true quantities is not displayed on the label or container in a prescribed manner. For example, a Chinese medicine you are importing. In that label, proper ingredients, it contains everything, standards, quantity, ash value, like that informations are not given. Traces of impurity, that informations were not given. And in Indian pharmacopoeia also, we don't have proper standards for the such medicines. So it will not be allowed for importing. Any cosmetics containing any such ingredient which may render it unsafe or harmful for use, if it is found, will not be permitted. Any drug which claim to cure or prevent any disease or ailment prescribed under Schedule J. Now we see the importance of Schedule J here. Simply by one word, Schedule J in the Act, they will prevent all the substances which are claimed to cure the such diseases will not be allowed for import. That's all. So any drugs or cosmetics, the import of which is prohibited by rules. Cosmetics, the import of which is prohibited by rules will not be allowed for import. So these are the classes of drugs prohibited to import as per Drugs and Cosmetic Act. Classes of drugs prohibited to import in the continuation is misbranded, substandard quality, Schedule J disease claimed drugs, adulterated, spurious, prohibited in original country, and it is not be allowed in India also. Patented proprietary medicines with their formula are not openly revealed, they will not be allowed. Okay. Import of the biological drugs, only C, C1 category. We know C are parenteral type of medicines, C1 are non-parenteral, contains adrenaline type of medicines, hormones, toxins, related medicines. non-parental form, vitamins in non-parental form, all comes under C1. The license of for the import of Schedule C and C1 drug is granted subject to the following conditions. License must have adequate facility. The licensee must have adequate facility for the storage of imported drugs so that the properties of drugs are preserved. Because these drugs need special storage conditions. That is important. That is why they are classified separately. If the storage conditions are not properly maintained, become injurious to health sometime or ineffective. Uh, so if the person who is importing is maintaining such facilities, then only it will be allowed. Then only the license will be issued. Licensee must maintain the records of sale of drugs, showing particulars of the names of the drugs and of the person to whom they have been sold. So all sale records openly they have to maintain, and it will be inspected. Licensee must allow the inspectors to inspect the premises where imported drugs are stored and to check the record and to take the samples for test or analysis. It is a regular process. So inspectors visit after issuing licenses anytime they may visit and check the process of sale takes place from the importer. Licensee on request shall apply the sample of drugs from all batches to the licensing authority, supply the sample of drugs from all batches to the licensing authority for test or analysis. So they have to submit the samples for testing. They have to get certified by the government analyst and then they should proceed sale in India. Licensee must not sell the drugs from any batch from which samples have been supplied to the licensing authority except under the advice of the licensing authority. So, if no certification is obtained until unless they should not go for sale. The licensee must comply with the undertaking given in Form 9. Form 9 is under Schedule A of Drugs and Cosmetic Act. So, undertaking will be taken in this. So, they obey all the rules and regulations prescribed under this act while supplying to Indian market. The import license may be cancelled or suspended if the conditions are not satisfied. So, anytime it may be withdrawn from the original licensee. So that is about import of biological drugs CC1. Okay. Additionally, if the person wants to sell Schedule X class of drugs in India, then what is the special rule says? The license for the import of Schedule X drugs is granted subject to the following conditions. The licensee must have adequate facility for the storage of imported drugs so that um, one second, so that the properties of the drugs are preserved. Licensing authority may also refuse to grant the license if the license granted to the applicant previously was suspended or cancelled. Any reasons? Previous track records says that because of any non-compliance of the rules and regulations, it was withdrawn from that licensee once. Then they don't issue again. Or in case if the applicant failed to comply with any provision of the act, that is Drugs and Cosmetic Act or NDPS Act, then never be given again. However, if the applicant is not satisfied with the decision, may appeal to central government within 13 days. They can apply for review and they may submit to new undertakings. Sometimes the government may permit for continue the sale with the new license. Okay, with this